of Lovecraft, they dish the facts. Lightsabers clash and capes on their backs. Xenomorphs lurking, Gotham's dark alleys. With every episode, the fandom rallies. The first to last, the Nerdom with Mike and Tom. Dropping nerd knowledge like an atom bomb. Discussing the cosmic, the scary, the epic. Tune in, strap in, it's all real, authentic. Galaxies far, far, horrors, chilling lore. From Krypton to Hogwarts, always explored. Panels and pages, heroes and stages. Worlds colliding, they know all the phases. Wicked X-Wings and Daleks that scream. Phantom zones and vampire dreams. Multiverse open and ready to storm. Mike and Tom in the lab, setting the norm.
Welcome to the First to Last Nerdom, the podcast where fandom meets madness, obsession meets analysis, and we dive deep into the first episode, the last sequel, and everything in between. This week, things are getting bloody. Your pal and mine, ML, is stepping into the ring with one of horror's most twisted franchises in what we're calling the Terrifier Challenge. That's right, he's attempting to binge through as many Terrifier films as humanly or inhumanly possible before his sanity taps out. Will Art the Clown break him? Will the gore be too much? Will ML make it out with his lunch and his dignity intact? Stick around, grab your fake blood and popcorn, and let's find out if ML can survive Splatterfest. This is the First to Last Nerdom, and things are about to get terrifying.
Yes, Tom. Yes, wonderful setup as per usual. I'm ML, and this is Tom, and we're going to get into it here in a moment. But yeah, so this was so Tom came up with this challenge, and there's a few of these movies out here. My understanding is, and I'm dimly aware of this, aside from headlines or something. I know nothing of this world before this. So Tom, every week, if I can return, I can stop the ride anytime I want, right?
Yeah. I see where the movie kind of drained all of your complexion.
Yeah, I'm in love with the black and white filter. Yeah. So like that, I've been doing that lately. So I'm gonna continue on with that. But yeah, no, yeah. So apropos to Art, the clown here, didn't know anything about this world aside from you shared with me various tidbits that memorabilia that you were collecting, and different interactions therein. But before we get going too hard into the thing, I do want to we got to get a
little shout out to our channel.
Yeah, pay the bills here, as we say, so to speak. We are the First, the Last Nerdom, or at FirstLastNerdom. Thanks for that awesome name change, Tom. And so that's where you'll find us, where you'll find all of our latest ones. We took a week off because I got really busy and I got slammed, and so Tom did as well. And then we had to take some time away. So we're back in the saddle, and hopefully we'll be able to keep going here, back on track. Before we will have a break probably just before summer, more than likely, if not during. So but we'll try to announce that way ahead of time. But we have 417 subscribers, loyal viewers who come back again and again. We thank you so much, because we do. I haven't looked into the stats or anything, and I'm not super into this world here, aside from just running this channel and help and Tom running it as well. So we thank you if you come back weekly, or every so often. It's great. Well, you're welcome in anytime. As we get into this week, the last series we did was on Madness, going crazy,
March Madness,
March Madness, yeah. So I think that played very well, and this was a perfect pivot point into it. Into going headlong into this insanity that you subjected me to, as it were. But I believe that you head up our Reddit army. Do you not, sir?
Yes, yeah, I promote us on Reddit, so I'm sure maybe some of our viewers watching right now came from Reddit. So hey Reddit people. But yeah, I promote our stuff there. I also promote on our X channel, the First Last Nerdom. Both are First Last Nerdom on both Reddit and on X. And yeah, I'll point do a post of our latest video on there, so you can keep track of what's coming up and whether or not you want to take a dive into it that week or not.
Yeah, I'm also available on X at ApeIt_Ink. And occasionally Tom and I will do a conversation in the real world about some things, or nerddom, or things that pass our fancy. We try to do that a little bit here and there. Also, you can find me on my longer form content, ApeIt.Ink. That is on Substack, but that's also hosted on their servers. But censorship proof, all that good stuff. But as always, FirstLastNerdom on YouTube. So we got into this show here, or this movie, excuse me. And before we get, I did some notes here before we get into it too crazy. I just wanted to kind of throw this in and then just see where we go with it or whatever, if that's cool. So you're going to tell me that this movie was made for $35,000 and it was shot in 10 days. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah.
That is insane. That blows me away.
Yeah, and it was also, I was watching the credits, watching it again, and yeah, there's a section for Indiegogo backers, so evidently it was also on Indiegogo. Yeah, so it's the little movie that could, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, this is a horror film. This is in line with the 80s horror slasher kind of sort of vibe.
Yep.
But that's partially true in some things, because it finds its own path. It does things that a normal horror movie would not dare touch.
Yeah, and it breaks some of the rules of a slasher movie as well.
Yes, it does. Yes. Yeah, and what are some of those rules that it would have to follow in order to be a spiritual successor to that, if you don't mind, sir?
Well, for one thing, there's the final girl always makes it through, and does she in this?
Well, yeah.
we'll get into spoilers later.
That's true. And
yeah.
Teens are punished, or not necessarily punished per se, but one could draw a moral conclusion that sexually promiscuous teenagers are punished, whether it's right or wrong, in a kind of in a way. In some of those, so there's a little bit of touches on judgment, a little bit, but doesn't stray too far. But this is a whole. There are no rules. Art's rules. That's what the rules are. That's what art wants.
Right.
It's essentially.
And say what you will, art isn't a pervert. Yeah, there's no like weird sexual thing going on with him. Well, I guess there is a little bit, but not your one of the things that's always kind of skeevy are those horror movies that have sort of like a sexual bent to it, and the art sort of like just kills just because he enjoys it.
Yeah, and
for the most part.
And it's like it's not just that, right? It's not just his character nails the weird pervy sexual thing, just weird, just kind of grotesque, that side, but he also does they leave nothing unturned in this the scatological element to it. Just the over the top, like just blood, I mean, everywhere. I mean, it's like that scene in The Shining where the blood kind of runs down and into the elevator scene, whatever. Like this is like that this is like that, like every scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it does not, the violence here is so exaggerated too, I would say.
Yeah, and before we get too far into it, so this week we're just focusing on Terrifier, and again, I went to ML and said, hey, can you would you like to do this where you see how far you can get into the series? And I told him he can nope out at any point, and so you kind of spoiled it for me, but you did make it through all of the first one, right?
Yes, I did. Yes, it took a minute.
Yeah, and also now we do know that there's another one before this. All Hallows Eve was a anthology film
That's what I
where
learned.
art, yeah,
Yeah.
art is one of the characters in that. So if we make it through all three of the movies, and
Bonus.
as a bonus, we might circle back to the
Mhm.
to the anthology, just to see, but yeah, it's done by written and directed by Damien Leone, and he comes from special effects,
Yeah.
doing the makeup and stuff. So watching the behind the scenes stuff, it was kind of interesting seeing the director applying the makeup to to art, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
his prosthetics and all that. And yeah, it was just kind of interesting seeing a director get his hands dirty with, like, the squib shots of the bullet wounds, splattering out.
Oh, and correct me if I'm wrong. That because of his background and who he is and what he's seen and done before, that actually he was if without him being able to do that all the way from the directing to the practical effects, special effects, even to the
Mhm.
just to everything in the thing, this movie would never have been made. So it
Mhm.
speaks to his talent. He is a multi-talented hand at it. So like I also read that about the film, like because it was so
Mhm.
tight knit to what it had to do. It's very this is like this is practically nothing for like in modern Hollywood. This is like nothing, like literally how this could come to be. But it revolves, as we kind of mentioned, that your little pal there, Art the Clown, is the
Oh, it
sadistic,
is. Hey.
sadistic silent killer who
Mhm.
terrorizes these three young women on Halloween nights, which makes sense because I think this kind of got brought up in discussion before for Halloween.
Mhm.
I think it's been on the bubble for a while, so we were trying to figure
Yeah.
where we want to work Terrifier in.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. The Umbrella came out with a big box set last year, and I had always kind of avoided the Terrifier movies. I was like, I'm not all that into blood and guts. I'd heard good things about, well, good and bad things about the series. So yeah, I wasn't 100% on it, but I was like, well, I was kind of interested in getting the box set, but I didn't want to spend them. There's a good chunk of change to get it, so I didn't want to buy it and not like the movies. So I did went through and watched. I believe it was on Tubi that I watched the first Terrifier on, and then yeah, and then I watched the second one, and then by then I knew that I liked the series so far, so I waited till I got the box set to watch the third and most recent installment of it.
that makes sense.
And it's there's the director said there's going to be at least one or two more movies in the series. He has a definite end to it. He said that other people may pick it up and carry it on after he's left the world of art, but but yeah, there's at least there is an end in sight. And that's another thing about this series that's different, because all the other horror franchises, like Nightmare on Elm Street, the Friday the 13th movies, they're all um, made up as they went along, and the mythology or the lack thereof always changed from movie
Yeah.
to movie. And I think some of the fun of the fans is trying to make sense out of the mythology of those movies. Whereas this, there's not a whole lot of mythology in the first movie, as you probably saw, but starting with the second movie, a lot of the mythology and gets exposed, but he's just kind of sprinkling it along. Although he said in the fourth movie is really going to get into the origins of Art the Clown. And then the wonderful thing about the beginning is it's a nice nod to Nightmare on Elm Street. Where you had the first one where um, Freddy Krueger's making his claw hands. In this one, it's sort of like Art getting himself ready for his big date.
Right. Yeah, it's so funny how it plays out too. It pulls you in immediately. There is no waiting waiting around for what happens. I was gonna say too, yeah, so like this one apparently, yeah, so like I walked in and I was like, you madman, you you helped me walk into this macabre scene. And it really doesn't take long before it gets going. The kind of talk show part, not only what you said before, but also kind of reminded me a little bit of that late night with the devil show. I think it was. It kind of had that vibe. So it was like I was kind of already primed for that, but it doesn't really touch on what this thing is aside from horrendous killer. I think that I'll find out a little bit. I have some notions, but I'll let that play out. Of him push too hard on his background. Like it's a whole like novel, like the whole thing, how it's interconnected. But very quickly you see like this character never says a word. Like it's very open-ended, so it looks like it's very earth-based, like it could just be this serial killer or whatever. And I believe what I kind of put together was, after watching this, the way that it's kind of shown is kind of like shown through a flashback of like what happened that night for that that happened to this the thing. But it just like, which is another layer of dread and horror, and it also isn't afraid to play with you, the audience. It's not. It's kind of crazy, it's just like it's remarkable.
Yeah, it's a very tight 124-minute movie that doesn't skimp on on anything. Yeah, like you said, it jumps immediately into the action and never lets up on on anything. It's one of those series where even me, when I'm watching it, I kind of clinch up and it's like, okay, am I going to be able to make it through this time? It's like, well, what is Art going to get up to this time? What crazy nonsense.
I had I'm not gonna lie, I had to stop it a couple of times. I'm like, okay, what the fuck am I watching? Like, so it took a minute. The only part that I really strenuously objected to was probably the most brutal scene. But like once you make it past that, I mean, you're kind of, it doesn't get better like for any of these people, but it gets more odder and bizarre, and it just it has like a lot of times horror film, like some of the horror films that I've noticed is like there'll be a line and it'll be implied for something happened off to the side, but when it just shows you it's just like, oh, we got bits and pieces of Silence of the Lambs, we got we got it all. Like we got it all. Like there is no no stopping in this film.
Yeah, you could see the love of cinema that Damien has, because he references a lot of different movies, but does it in a way that's unique and original. It's not, he's not like just aping what he's seen.
No.
He's doing his unique spin on it. In fact, Art comes from an odd kind of a non horror roots. He kind of based Art's look on a Twilight Zone episode. I sent you a link of that episode, 5 characters in search of an exit. If you click on the picture there, there's a clown in that.
Wow.
And yeah, so he kind of based his look around like that. So 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 he's well versed in what he's seen. So yeah, it's kind of cool that because I remember that episode, and
that's awesome.
I remember thinking that clown was kind of creepy in that, but but yeah,
Absolutely.
That's the origins of Art. And then yeah, and also the 4K. This is the 4K I got. they did some really nice slip cases on it for Umbrella, but yeah, there's a commentary on it with I'll put it back up here, done with Damien and Art the Clown himself. I forget the actor's name, but let's see, what is it? And the Art the Clown, the actor, he does a lot of voice work for video games and animated stuff. David Howard Thornton.
Yes.
And yeah, it's kind of interesting hearing Art finally speak. On a commentary, he said he was tempted to do be Art on the commentary, and then you'd only hear like a horn horn sound occasionally. But yeah, he went ahead and spoke in it, and he doesn't sound like what you would imagine Art the Clown to sound like. He kind of as soon as he starts talking, even if he's in the makeup, Art becomes much more friendlier.
Oh yeah, well, even though he has no lines per se, and it is Art the Clown, the killer in the film, is so expressive. Is the opposite of, like, to a T. Instead of bringing joy and laughs and and silliness, it's even creepier because he's there to inflict maximum suffering, and then he'll just be like in the middle of a horrific act and be like,
yeah,
or
like
whatever,
or
whatever, like almost like there was an audience watching everything he was doing, and he was always putting on a show. But it's just very interesting that he is very good.
Yeah.
Actor, very good job. He brought it to life, and he made it his own.
Yeah, Art almost has like a childlike nature to him, which is very unsettling for what he does,
Right.
what he's getting up to, and so you have this he does these horrendous things, but then he does something to make you laugh, and it it lessens the tension. It kind of makes things a little bit more palatable. It's sharp contrast to those torture porn movies during the 2000s where they were relentless. The horror of it,
like Saw, just Saw remakes, or copycats. Well, and not only is he striking that way, but just the basic black and white of his costume is it really makes him stand out. And especially when there's a lot more of another color being gratuitously splashed upon the screen.
He kind of harkens back to the silent killers of Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, but he has the likable charm of Freddy Krueger. The Damien said in the commentary, he's very conscious that he doesn't want Art to become like, say, the fifth Nightmare on Elm Street, where Freddy just is there for the laughs and he's no longer scary. He wants Art to always have that edge to him, to where you don't know what he's going to do, and it's probably going to be horrendous and worse than the last thing he did. But yeah, he also said that, and you may be surprised by this, he said he wanted to make an American Giallo, and this movie is his Giallo.
Very interesting. Yeah, well, it definitely, I could see where it does take some perspectives and blends them in. Whether it's it fits in that aside from Giallos being tragedies, really is what the common factor is. This clown does not, you think it's dead, and that's also it also just doesn't even waste time. You're met with the talk show, you very quickly, oh my God, this mangled woman, what happened, and then it goes right. I mean, it goes right into it, and then you kind of suspect that, okay, maybe there's something really special and evil, more so than your average human.
Yeah, and also that it's kind of interesting because, like, you see the little TV and Art's watching it as he's getting ready, and like you said, the movie becomes like a hour and a half long flashback movie where I guess Art's kind of thinking about his past events as he's getting ready to go out for the night of mayhem or whatever. But yeah, and he's watching the TV, and you get the kind of static image. He was the director. He wasn't happy with the makeup he did for the girl's disfigured face, so instead of spotlighting it and showing it close up, he did the whole kind of static and did it on like the small TV, so you really didn't get a good look at the makeup. I thought it was pretty pretty gruesome and worked, but yeah, it's kind of, but it gives it kind of a interesting look and feel. So yeah, it's kind of cool how you take maybe a negative and make it into a positive. It's really engaging how he ended up putting that all together.
Yeah, it you could tell that they went to town with it, and they really, when you don't have all that much money, you got to get real creative, and they obviously scored on that front, just for, and sometimes it's almost like tongue in cheek. It's just like, it's just so over the top, and they know that it's over the top. They play with you a little bit, which is funny too. It flirts with the audience in a very bizarre way, just like fucking Art the Clown does. This bizarre juxtaposed. It's a ride. Yeah, like that. The one scene I had, it took me a minute to like, okay, what the fuck are we doing here? But then kind of after you get over that part, that shock and awe. I mean, it's. I'm not going to say that the rest of the movie is palatable, but it's just kind of it's basically. I mean, there's other scenes like where he shows up, but really that's the scene like where he's really putting on a show. And then the rest of it is just kind of him just tracking these people down one by one, as it goes. It's just kind of like the parade of murders that don't stop. Kind of, and in some ways like a giallo, like where you just have this killer on the loose. But it's so much more over the top. I mean, just so much more in your,
and I love the look of the movie. It looks like an old 70s slasher movie. It's got that look, that kind of grainy, sort of dirty looking kind of filmed, kind of like with that kind of that 70s kind of smear or haze to it. But it's very much of today. We do have cell phones in this, and then Art, he's not technology scared like say a Michael Myers would be. He'll grab a phone, and maybe text his victim, his next victim.
Oh yeah, that's what's even more bizarre too. Like they do the technology layering so well. Like you don't even kind of realize. You got to really look at the phone to see like what if it's a dated year or not. But they do a very very good job of that, and even down to the brunette, like a Nev Campbell, that kind of that striking archetype, It's just very interesting. They play with you a little bit. They give homages here and there, and they sprinkle them in a way that makes it not a copycat, but its own. You accept it. You accept it into the pantheon of a horror slasher, whatever the hell you want to, new genre. Probably is what it is.
And interestingly enough, it came out in 2016, and if you remember back then, there was this huge clown craze.
Oh, yeah.
I sent you an article and a video where these clowns started showing up on people's door cams and just hanging out and being creepy. And I sent you a YouTube video with the top 15 scary videos. But one of the people from New York that was kind of behind the whole clown craze, he's one of the ones that started it. He's actually one of the actors in the movie. Towards the end, there's a second guy that comes to to work on the building, and
That is really cool. I did not know that.
he's one of those guys that started that. So
Mike, where are you at, Mike? Yeah.
hey, Mike. But yeah, the art Terrifier came out at the perfect time because it was right on the height of that clown paranoia, and here's this killer clown movie. And but yeah, obviously he came from before that with the short film that they did with him. But it's just sort of, I guess, kind of synchronicity to the whole thing, where the whole clown craze thing happened, and then the art came out.
Right. Yeah. No, that was crazy. And was this the top 15? Okay, no,
Yeah.
that's yeah. This was
Various
the
clown
video that
sightings.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, those are very. I enjoy watching those videos because they are very creepy.
Well, yeah, they're made to hit the mute button, but yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah. Now if you do this nowadays in America, I would just say make sure that your friends are in on the prank, because otherwise
yeah,
it
yeah,
could
you might
encourage.
get hit by a car or something.
Oh yeah, if not worse. People
Yeah.
don't like it's just crazy. But yeah, no, I do remember this. I do remember reading about it, and then seeing a couple copycat people kind of
Mm-hmm.
jump on the craze or whatever. Not
But
a
yeah,
good idea. Pretty harmless
but
for the most part. It scared the shit out of some people, but
yeah, those door cam ones are really freak me out. But yeah. So yeah, definitely plays on that. But it wasn't. But there's stuff behind it. The movie kind of obviously holds its own. But yeah, it's not cashing in on this phenomenon. But it's sort of, like I said, kind of had this weird sort of synchronicity to it.
yeah, it works. It worked very well. Yeah. This would have hit a little harder, when. Well, I remember when it was a thing too. That was also kind of, that took advantage of it a little bit, not too long after this, but because people really like that movie. But yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes. Because it's kind of, you get a very basic understanding of what the hell this thing is and what the hell's going on. And all is that there's no such thing as cops. They don't fucking exist, and it wouldn't matter anyway. And then
Yeah, no
the other
one's
thing,
coming to rescue you.
well, there is no such thing as a
Yeah.
survivor in this world here. But that's the funny part. But
Yeah, and it's interesting that he's named Art. It's sort of like it's almost Damien kind of challenging you by saying, this, even though this is a slasher gore movie, it's still art. even if it's written in feces on the wall, it's still
right,
art.
right.
Yeah, it does answer the question. Does the relentless killer take time out to take a crap? And yes, they do.
Yeah. Art's party supplies for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there's in the commentary, Damien did mention there's a couple of CGI moments in there. They actually put in a CGI jack-o'-lantern in the scene in the pizzeria because they wanted to make it a little bit more clear that there was that was taking place during Halloween.
Yeah. That makes sense. I
Mm-hmm.
was just looking at my notes here while you were talking here. Yeah, obviously Art does a great job with David's performance, but Jenna Cannell as Tara, and then Samantha as Dawn, like the two, they do well enough as well.
Yeah, the girl that plays Tara, Gina Cannell, she was actually was going to be cast in a previous Damien movie that never got off the ground, and he kept her in mind, and then called her up. I was like, hey, I got a new movie for you that's actually going to happen, and you're perfect for it. So So yeah, it seems like the sets are enjoyable. There's some behind the scenes footage, and everybody's having a laugh, and Art's in there one as one of the big cut ups as well. So yeah, it seems like even though that's pretty grim and relentless in the movie, but it seems like the set is pretty light.
Yeah, the that would be very interesting to watch the behind the scenes or comment, even the commentary on it, because I'm sure there's like a million things. I kind of got a couple little nuggets here and there, like like so and so is was just there, and they were like, well, just why don't you just do your thing here? I can't remember the guy, but the actors weren't all like super professionals. In other words,
Yeah.
they worked with the cast they had, and it worked very well. And it surprisingly worked well, because sometimes that doesn't all, you can tell, like with not Reanimator, but there was like one like that one that we have covered in the past, like where it was just essentially like somebody like walking on the like just like somebody there, and they did an okay job, but everything was believable for what it was. But of course, there isn't really a plot, per se. It's just
Right.
kind of like, it's just one murder scene, connected to the next murder scene.
Yeah, Art. A couple of people catches Art's eye, and and they kind of tease him a little bit, and he doesn't like that. So
No, he doesn't like much of anything. It doesn't seem like there is like a way to placate him at all whatsoever, aside from you being sawed in half.
Yep.
Yeah, he really and the other thing too that was really striking was, so some of these horror slash movies are like where you don't see, you see the stalking behind the scenes, but you don't really see them. It's kind of dark. It's ambush style. It's already the attack is already underway, or whatever, or the chase is already underway as it goes. But the way that I think it makes it even more terrifying because of how you see him, and how he just walks in the pizzeria, like nothing, you know what I mean? And then he slips in and out of people's personal space at will. Like,
yeah, with the
crazy,
slasher,
crazy.
with slasher movies, they're usually camera shy. Michael Myers is, he's not the star of the movie.
Like,
He just
you
shows up
only
every
get
once in a while. Yeah.
glimpses of the, like I said, it's kind of like a flashlight. You can only see them a little. You don't get prolonged. And it's just the other thing too that makes this whole freaking thing more spooky or just more creepy is the long shots, like that they just static shot, long, boom. You're staring at that for even longer, than it makes it even more uncomfortable as part of the audience, I would say.
Yeah, there's and yeah, so Art's very much the star of the movie. He's in it quite a bit. And his first kill in the movie is one of the guys at the pizzeria, and they just keep cutting back to him, just wailing away at the guy. And with the most horror movies, you'd get the initial hit, and then you'd cut away, but they just kept cutting back to him butchering the body. And he was Damien was very much inspired by I think the first kill in Suspiria, Dario Argento's movie, where where the killer is cutting the woman so much it her chest that it that it just opens up the heart, and he just keeps going. And so yeah, he wanted a scene like that to just kind of beat home that this movie is going to go there.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't waste any time. Every shot is done. Every cut slash what, and the first one it really does, like,
Art kind of collapsed.
yeah, it really does, like go. It's just eerie, he the teeth, and the some things that they do is his teeth are white like that, like the doll, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're off white, you know, they're not like pearly white, but not like his makeup. But he
Yeah.
also has another state like where it's just blood, you know, it's just
Yeah.
constant
He's
blood, you know.
yeah, as it goes on, it gets bloodier and bloodier. So yeah, his color's black and white, but very much red by the end of it. And yeah, he's got little creepy hands too. It's but yeah,
Oh God, yeah, yeah. The fingerless gloves, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing too is, even when it would be a moment for the audience to like gasp or cheer, you know,
yeah,
for the victim, one of the victims to kind of get a strike in or something. They mean
yeah,
nothing. They mean nothing. Like I mean, they're brutal there too, but they're not.
yeah.
It never stops the thing, which also confuses you as to like, what the hell? What is this creature? You know, what is this entity?
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, the I guess we could maybe start getting into a little bit of spoilers,
Yeah,
but
we're at the 40-minute mark, so spoilers ahead. We won't hold back.
but yeah. So Tara, you assume, is the final girl that you're with through the whole movie, and then about halfway through, she gets It looks like she's gonna win out over Art and beat him to death, and Art just pulls out a gun and shoots her. That's the crazy thing about this movie is that Art's not above taking out a gun, and he does do likes to use um, cutting tools and and tear apart people that
Smashing
way.
tools, yeah.
But as a last resort, if someone gets the upper hand on him, he's not above just taking out a gun and shooting somebody. And yeah, that scene, it's pretty brutal, and he's not joking around anymore. He's she's got one over on him, and he's upset, and you can tell he's not dancing around and being funny. He's very cold and efficient in dispatching her.
He goes to work and doesn't waste any time, and then it kind of you can tell in a weird way, you can tell it took the joy from him a little bit, you know, like what he's depraved, whatever the hell joy he derives from this nihilistic, exercise in just, bodies.
Yeah, and yeah, the music's serviceable in it. But
Nothing
yeah,
wrong with it.
nothing stood out. But yeah, it
I
was
agree.
it was decent. Like I said, the actors for the most part was did very well job. There's the cat lady who has her baby in it, which is a doll. At times I found her acting not the best in the world, but yeah, it was serviceable.
that part was kind of like, I guess so. You kind of like, okay, like maybe there's something else there for that one, and it was what it was. But you kind of it serves the edge for what it was. It maybe sets the stage for future movies. I'll just put that way. From what it looks like from just soaking up knowledge from this version of art.
Yeah, but yeah, it kind of pushed the envelope, and also played with like the traditions, like how the killer usually uses knives or machetes or something pointed, and like I said, Art's not above going with technology and taking out a gun or using a phone to encourage a victim to come in. He's very much he's adaptable, and then like I said, the final girl gets killed in it, and then instead of someone taking Art out, he takes himself out at the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, it kind of reminded me a little bit of how Pinball, what was it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it kind of had a little bit of that kind of touch to it a little bit. But like you were saying, I was just building on, you mentioned the Giallo reference there, and the color desaturation kind of gives it kind of a weird, vibe toward that. Well, it's hard to explain. You don't question the phones or the technology. And matter of fact, the film technology has nothing to do with any of it, but they do it very well. They do it tastefully. Less is more. They don't focus on too much. Was what I was going to say. Yeah,
And
it spawned. This small little tiny thing, unrated, whatever, spawned a new franchise and a merchandise line, which has only grown since then. So that in and of itself is crazy.
yeah, and Damien's not shy about licensing him out, like all the major
Should.
the independent toy companies have done their version of action figure. I think NECA is coming out this year with some art action figures, and I picked up this guy, a little guy from Mezco, and I've kind of stepped away from getting action figures, and I've kind of gotten more into like stuffed plushies and stuff, horror related ones, and this just kind of hit every target for me on this one. But yeah, very very happy to have him hang out with us on our podcast occasionally. He likes doing his political commentary. Maybe we'll get him to talk a little later.
Right.
But yeah, it's a nice in the movie's in and out 100 and like an hour and 24 minutes. Doesn't waste any time. It gets in, gets out. Now not now the next movie's a little bit more of an endurance for you, Mike or ML.
My understanding is.
Yeah, it's over 2 hours long, 2 hours and 20. You're probably thinking, how can you make a over 2 hour slasher movie? But it does a good job of it, I think. Anyway, it does build out the cast of characters and adds a little bit more of the mythology.
Right.
This movie's you really don't know if Art's just a homicidal maniac or is there like a supernatural element. Now that gets answered by the end of the movie very clearly. They did do a few reshoots, and they did add the scene with the morgue at the end because they originally had it end with Art shooting himself in the head and blowing his brains out. But they wanted to, because the plan was always to have a sequel, and they just wanted to make it a little bit more clear that no, Art's coming back. Don't you worry, he's not done yet. So they added that scene, and they did add the scene with the second guy showing up to work on the building because they wanted another kill in the movie. And one of the comments of a rough cut they showed to audiences was that even though they were fumigating for rats, there wasn't any rats in the movie. So they did do some inserts of rats popping up occasionally in the movie because if you mention rats, you got to show them.
Right. Well, oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah, they did it very well. I'm trying to be artful here with the art.
Yeah, with his reveal. But and also they did inspire a book too. I'm in the middle of reading. There isn't a book for the first movie, but the second movie there is a book. I'm getting almost halfway through. But yeah, so hopefully by the next week or whenever we cover Terrifier 2, I'll have this read and I'll let you know my mini book review and whether or not it's worth reading or not.
Yeah, absolutely, that'd be great. Yeah. I we'll see how the second one goes. We'll see, because like sometimes there can be a lot of interesting connective tissue that kind of draws you in even more. That isn't just the redo of what we saw before, which is a bloodbath. Like it's got to be that, sure, but also something a little bit more that adds to the depth of what the
Yeah, there's that one scene in this movie that's sort of the centerpiece kill that kind of tested your nerves. There is another scene that kind of pushes buttons in the second movie that may be a big note moment for you. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if you make it all the way through. But I think it does pay off. However, our friend to the channel, Scott Dyson, we had him on, a writer, and he did post on Facebook that he watched, I think, at least the first two Terrifier movies, and he wasn't very taken with them. He wasn't sure what all the hullabaloo was about. So yeah, he wasn't a huge fan, and so that was kind of, our tastes are similar. So I was kind of thought, well, maybe maybe there isn't something to these movies. And so yeah, when I approached the movies, it was kind of standoffish. Okay, you're gonna have to prove yourself to me. But yeah, I became obviously a fan since I own a Art the Clown doll. And I got the big box set and everything. Also, I sent you the link for the umbrella.
Oh yes.
The box set that I got. That's the one I have, which is all the movies that are out so far. The first disc, which again I watched this. It does have the anthology on it as well, as a extra bonus feature on it. But yeah, there's a 120 page hardback book in there. There's some posters. There's like I didn't see it, but they did have a bigger box set that also included VHS tape of the third movie and some sunglasses that Art wears in the third movie. And then I think a little Lego type thing of art. But yeah, Umbrella does have a sale on right now. That box set that I got isn't on sale, but the individual 4Ks, they've got them on sale. I think 30% off.
All
So
right.
maybe cheaper to get them that way. Yeah, and but yeah, you might want to go through that, our fans out there, because they deal with very cool movies, sci-fi, horror, and fantasy stuff. So there's some cool stuff. There's a buy one get one free thing going on select titles, and 30% off on certain titles. So if you're into physical media, that's probably where you want to go. And they are out of Australia, and I was wondering, how they're going to be hit with the tariffs, but I guess they've kind of lifted them temporarily. So I guess they thought, well, it'll be a great time to have a sale, right?
Yeah. You'll get while the getting's good, for sure. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to weigh in if I like or love or don't like this franchise yet. I'm still in the mode of absorbing it all. I have some thoughts and some things, but those will be borne out as I see more. So we'll see. We'll see where if there is a note button or that.
So, so you haven't noped out yet, so to be continued.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. We're on for next week for sure. Like that. Whether I can make it all the way through, I don't know. Maybe it might be a partial book report. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
But
I think if there was a note moment, it will be the. I think the second movie is going to be the challenge for you. If you make it through the second one, I think you'll make it through the third one. But yeah.
I can also appreciate it because we've been doing this thing for cinema for a while. I'm no expert, but I am definitely a filthy casual observer, and you can kind of appreciate some of the technical aspects of what you're seeing. Because to be frank, if it's crappy or shitty quality, that right off you don't have to wait around to know it, and what you're getting, this is something very intense, and it is something of quality. That's what you can discern for sure, so it's like where it goes from here is very interesting.
Yep.
But we shall see next week. Which is kind of like the we're going through Passover and Easter season here. So it's just, it's kind of funny how those synergies work or whatever. But
yeah, and the first two movies are Halloween movies. They take place during Halloween, and the third one is a Christmas movie. So gather the family around and watch a very art Christmas movie.
Yeah, I think that covered everything I needed to say or wanted to say about it. Just very remarkable. No matter if you like or hate the movie,
Yeah,
you
it's
have to
very
give it up to them for what they created for such a small thing.
it's
You
very
know,
authentic. Very authentic. You can tell that the people that made it love horror movies. In fact, there's a dedication at the end in the credits to Wes Craven, Toby Hooper, and George A. Romero, which I'm sure all three of those heavily influenced this movie. And there's things in the movie that are kind of love letters to those creators who have all passed, unfortunately, from this earth. But yeah, Damien's definitely put his name forward as a premier director in horror, and he definitely shows his chops with this movie. And like I said, I'm looking forward to what we think of the second movie. And if you are, definitely give us a like and subscribe so that you'll get notifications whenever our stuff pops up, and you can get back with us in a week or two and see what we think of the second one.
yeah,
In
absolutely.
the Terrifier challenge. Yeah, I'm trying to make this into a thing, Terrifier challenge, see if maybe we get a little momentum for our channel here.
I think so. I think we will. Yeah, I don't have much to add other than that. But if you join us this week, we will looking forward to seeing
Yep.
you next week.
Yep, and it's time for Art's commentary on the latest political news. What do you think, Art? Yep, always succinct in his commentary.
always on cue. Absolutely. Well,
I should get a horn noise or something to kind
yeah,
of squeak out whenever he says something. But yeah.
indeed. I've been Mike.
And I'm Tom, and let's get out of here.
Peace.
Peace.